Ladies and gentlemen, as I sat on my veranda last night writing this speech, I looked into the cloudless sky and saw a universe full of stars. The view has been seen by so many, and has looked down upon earth whilst so much has happened. Those stars have seen so many defend their countries. They have seen so many die in acts of war. They have seen many acts of courageousness, and a cementing of mateship and the Australian spirit. Would this particular group of stars have been the last thing the Australian soldiers of World War I have seen as they left our shores? Would they have been looking out, reflecting on their lives to that date, and wondering what was in store for them? Would they live? Would they die? Would they make it home? As they trained in the deserts of the Middle East, between endless days of grueling conditions, how many of them, as their last glimpse before they closed their weary eyes, looked into the sky to reflect on being half a world away from the place they knew and loved? How many had flowing through their minds the questions, would they live? Would they die? Would they make it home? As the soldiers ready for battle, putting the final touches to their guns, making sure their kit was up to scratch, nervously steeling themselves for the fight that was to come in the wee hours of the morning. Prior to that landing, how many of them gazed into the sky and asked themselves, would they live? Would they die? Would they make it home? With bullets flying past and their mates scrambling, first through the water on the way to the beaches, and then crawling across the coarse, blood-dampened sand, how many of these soldiers, as they prayed to God, stole a look at the early morning sky and the stars, and ended their prayers with the questions, would they live? Would they die? Would they make it home? As the pain shoots through their bodies from being riddled with bullets, as they find themselves rolled onto their backs, unable to move or make a sound, I wonder how many of them looked at the stars and knew that they would not live, that they would die, and they would not make it home. We owe many things to these young men. We owe them the spirit that is Australia. We owe them, like all soldiers, our freedom and our respect. Our debt to pay must be to make our lives the best we can, and to live up to the potential that they sacrificed for us. And we owe them the moments where we stop and take the time to gaze upon the stars that soar out their last dreams. Lest we forget.